Well, the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says assassinating Iran's supreme leader wouldn't escalate the conflict, but calm it. He made those remarks during an interview with the American network ABC News.
U.S. officials tell us that the president flatly rejected a plan, an opportunity that the Israelis had to take out the supreme leader. Do you understand his concern? My understanding is his concern is that this would escalate the conflict beyond where it is already.
It's not going to escalate the conflict. It's going to end the conflict. We've had half a century of conflict spread by this regime that terrorizes everyone in the Middle East, has bombed the Aramco oil fields in Saudi Arabia, is spreading terrorism and subversion and sabotage everywhere. That's the forever war is what Iran wants.
Let's discuss this further now with our senior political analyst, Marwan Bishara, who's joining us from Paris. So Marwan, Netanyahu making it no secret there that he wants regime change in Iran. And as we heard the journalists there, reports suggesting that President Trump is against this, that he was the one who vetoed an Israeli plan to assassinate Iran's supreme leader. What do you make of this? And what do you think are the chances today of regime change in Iran?
Look, there is no doubt that it's short-sighted, criminal, and stupid to go after the head of state, in this case, the supreme leader of another country. This is just, countries stopped doing that a long time ago, because if every country is going to go after other countries' statesmen, then, we're going to end up with a headless world. So that's certainly not the right thing to do. But it's also quite short-sighted, because any such eventuality would lead to a serious upheaval, and that will have repercussions that are not conventional in any way. And third, which is a bit paradoxical, I think it's kind of laughable that a country will tell another, go ahead and bomb the hell of another country and call it excellent, but you know what, don't kill the leader. That's kind of nonsensical in a way, because already the United States, it's up deep in its arms in this conflict, supporting Israel basically unconditionally in terms of supplying it with arms and intelligence and praising it for its excellent work bombing, various infrastructure and other locations in Iran. But at the same time, and this is where it's all kind of gets very interesting, Folly, is that Netanyahu sounds desperate in this interview. I mean, I was thinking throughout the day that he's eager, but now the more and more I hear his tone, talking about it should be America first, not America dead. America dead? Really? Iran in this situation will kill America? He really thinks that Americans are stupid to be making such an argument that America must get involved today or America is dead tomorrow, because Iran, the demonic, evil devil, is going to get America next after Israel. He just really so hyperbolic, so
But let me ask you a bit
farcical.
more about that. You say he sounds desperate. Why? Why now? Why is he taking this path right now? Is this also driven by domestic considerations in Israel?
Well, there's no doubt that Israel cannot withstand a long-term attrition war with Iran. Iran withstood 8 years of war with Iraq. And there were, at the time, for those who remember, the missiles between the cities. Iraq and Iran started bombing each other with missiles until basically in the end, after 8 years of war, as it were, the supreme leader, Khomeini, drank the poison and basically signed an agreement ending the war. I'm not sure the Israelis can take 8 years, 8 months. I'm not sure they can take 8 weeks of this sort of situation, because Iran is not Gaza. Which gets me to my answer. I tell you, Foley, and this is probably, take that as the headline of this evening. Netanyahu's exit strategy is Trump. Netanyahu's exit strategy out of the Iran war that could end up to be a debacle for him and for Israel is Trump. He has no other exit strategy but Trump.
Okay, so basically you're saying that whatever happens next hinges on the American president himself. But we've heard mixed messages from the Trump administration. What's your assessment of his position right now? He said he doesn't want the forever wars in the Middle East, but then at the same time, there are the hawks in his administration, the Republican Party, the so-called neocons, who want to endlessly continue supporting Israel. How does he balance that?
It seems that there are two camps within his administration, within his entourage. There's a camp that's apparently growing stronger, and we haven't been paying attention, quite stronger by the day, saying, you know what, no, absolutely not. We're not going to get involved in another Middle Eastern war, not even on behalf of Israel. Not even because Netanyahu asked, not even if Netanyahu is almost winning. We don't want to get involved in another Middle Eastern war. I was actually even, surprised in a kind of funny way when you follow a bit of Twitter that you see that that Marjorie Greene, that
Marjorie Taylor Greene, yes.
Yeah, she just answered Netanyahu on Twitter saying, no, it's America first, not America dead, right? So there is a wing in the Republican Party, not especially among Trump's base, that is saying we don't want to get involved even on behalf of Israel, especially on behalf of Israel. But then there is the others, a bit neoconservative, a bit warmongering, a bit Israel lobby, that are pushing Trump towards that. If I get his instinct correctly and understand him to be whatever, we're not going to start using words now, I think he's going to go after what's in his interest and how he sees America's interest.
Right.
Meaning, I don't think he's going to be easily manipulated by Netanyahu. He's going to probably look for where the things are going and take that route.
But so far, I mean, all the routes he's taken haven't been really successful. I mean, okay, he's only been in power for a few months, but he's failed so far on all the big foreign policy issues and promises that he made, that he said he would solve quickly. They all seem to have gotten worse, whether it's the Middle East, whether it's the Russia-Ukraine war. How do you explain this? Is it because there's no strategy, really?
Absolutely, absolutely. But he's also now in his usual way saying, ha, 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 ha. That was campaign. I was just saying these things. I didn't really mean them because I was exaggerating. It's like when he, was saying horrible things about women. He said, this is locker room talk, right? It's the same thing. This is locker room talk. I will resolve it in 24 hours. Don't even worry about it. Even before I became president, by just, snapping my finger, it'll all be resolved. Russia will be out of Ukraine and it will end the war in Gaza, right? I mean, that's what he said, because he just talks, right? I mean, at the end of the day, he made false promises. He's not the first candidate to make false promises, but he's especially hyperbolic when it comes to that. And he can easily walk it back and start, preoccupying the world with some other issue. But for the time being, what he's saying is, look, I'm really been trying to do my best on Ukraine. It's Putin who's switching, and being stubborn. And on the question of the Middle East and Iran, he did give the green light to Netanyahu. He's the first American president to give an Israeli prime minister the green light to attack a country like Iran. And that has consequences. He's not going to be able to escape that. And I say that not because I'm thinking about our news bulletin tonight or our news agenda for the next week or the next month. I talk that about as a scholar, as a reader in Middle Eastern history. I tell you, the fact that a bunch of white men in Canada, the fact that Trump standing next to Starmer, the British Prime Minister, the same two characters, meaning Prime Minister of Britain and American President, who led to regime change in Iran 70 years ago, are talking today about what to do about the Middle East. That will create an incredible pent-up tension and reaction on the long term in the Middle East. Because the idea that people think that they can just, switch things around as if it's Sykes-Picot all over again and we are in 1920s, that's just pipe dream. There are no victories in the Middle East. That's just poet's talk.
Right.
Who won a war in the Middle East? It's always gets to be one to another, one war after another. Every time Israel said it won a war since 1948, it's been fighting more wars ever since. It just fought 4 wars just the past 20 years. So it's all pipe dreams, really, in the end of the day,
right.
because the nature of the Middle East, the nature of asymmetrical warfare, don't allow for any such victory. A small country like Israel is not going to be a dominant power in the Middle East. If Netanyahu doesn't understand that, too bad for the Israeli people. It will never be a dominant force in the Middle East.
It does feel like a very dangerous moment, no doubt. Marwan, always good to get your thoughts. Thank you so much for your insight. Marwan Bishara is our senior political analyst joining us today live from Paris. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.